Ancient Egypt is the land of timeless monuments, enduring memories, and a near-obsessive respect for its own history. The Great Pyramids, the Sphinx, the temples along the Nile, they were all built to be eternal, to project the power and legacy of pharaohs across the ages. But amidst this rich tapestry of preservation and pride, there is a stark shadow, a pharaoh who actively sought to erase Egypt's very history. Yet history, as it often does, refused to be erased. The story begins with the towering figure of Akhenaten. Now Akhenaten stands out in Egyptian history, both literally and figuratively. Before his ascension to the throne, Egypt was a land of polytheism, where gods like Ra, Osiris, and Isis were worshipped in ornate temples attended to by powerful priesthoods. But when Akhenaten assumed power, he turned the entirety of Egyptian religion on its head. He proclaimed that Aten, the sun disk, was the one true god of Egypt. It was a bold move, a radical break from centuries of tradition. Akhenaten cast aside the pantheon, disbanded priesthoods, and even moved Egypt's capital to a brand new city he built from scratch, Akhenaten, now known as Amarna. But this wasn't just about religion. Akhenaten's reign was transformative in every sense, from art to politics. Egyptian art, once rigid and formal, suddenly became naturalistic and experimental under his watch. Portraits of Akhenaten depict him with elongated features, full lips, and a distended belly, strikingly different from the idealized depictions of previous rulers. This shift suggests a total reimagination of what it meant to be a pharaoh, both as a political figure and as a divine one. Yet, this bold leap into monotheism came at a cost. By rejecting the traditional gods, Akhenaten alienated the powerful priesthoods and destabilized the social order that had been anchored by centuries of polytheistic belief. His new city, dedicated entirely to Aten, was an isolated experiment, and his reforms were widely resented by the broader population. After Akhenaten's death, Egypt snapped back to its old ways. His successor, a boy king who would later become one of the most famous names in history, Tutankhamun, reversed the shift to Atenism. The capital returned to Thebes, the traditional gods were reinstated, and monuments to Aten fell into ruin. But this wasn't enough for the powers that be. Akhenaten wasn't just forgotten, he was deliberately erased. The rulers who followed Akhenaten, including Tutankhamun's successors Ai and Horemheb, went to extraordinary lengths to eradicate his memory. They chiseled his name from temple walls, dismantled his statues, and reused the stones from his monuments to build their own structures. In official lists of pharaohs, Akhenaten's name was conspicuously absent, as were those of his immediate successors. He was written out of history, his name and legacy intentionally buried under the weight of public rejection. To ancient Egyptians, this process of erasure was the ultimate punishment. The belief in Ma'at, the divine order of balance and truth, was central to Egyptian religion and culture. A pharaoh who disrupted Ma'at, as many believed Akhenaten had done, was seen as a contagion to be expunged. Obliterating his name from monuments ensured that his spirit would be unable to survive in the afterlife. The ultimate goal was not just to end his influence, but to make it as though Akhenaten had never existed. For centuries, Akhenaten remained a ghostly figure, forgotten by history. His radical reign and his attempt at monotheism lay beneath the sands of time. But history, like the Nile, has a habit of revealing its secrets. Akhenaten was not just forgotten, he was deliberately erased from history. His name was chiseled from temple walls, his statues dismantled, and the stones from his monuments were reused to build new structures, effectively burying his legacy under the weight of new ambitions. In official records, Akhenaten's name was conspicuously absent, his existence seemingly erased from the annals of Egyptian history. The ultimate goal was not just to end his influence, but to make it as though Akhenaten had never existed.